diplomacy has played its role as one of the defining elements of state. It is therefore paramount that every nation positions itself in the global arena through defining and applying its foreign policy, which will guide its activities and relationships in interaction with other states. On July 25th, 2016, when I opened a conference on the review of Namibia's international relations and cooperation, I referred to the dynamism of the changing world order and modern-day diplomacy. I spoke of an era of ever-changing diplomatic landscape where states are no longer the only role players, but where they have been joined by multilateral institutions, non-governmental organizations, private sector, as well as charismatic individuals, who are all playing an active role in international relations. It is therefore a pleasure to welcome this evening a mix of invitees hailing from a variety of professional backgrounds to the inaugural lecture series named after Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab. When you are from the south, you will say Gurirab. When you are from the north, you say Gurirab. So that's how it is. The first Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Namibia. Foreign policy's role in promoting a country's development is a matter of great importance for understanding its national trajectory, especially in the case of an emerging country. The international dynamics that define our modern world have been greatly influenced by the emergence of what are referred to as middle-income nations or emerging powers, whose main goal, both domestically and internationally, has been to promote their development and to increase their stature and presence. In a paper entitled Foreign Policy and Diplomacy, Diplomacy as a Technique for Foreign Policy, Abu Nat described foreign policy as a key element in the process by which a state translates its broadly conceived goals and interests into concrete course of action to set objectives and preserve its own self-interest. Namibia's goals and interests are defined by our Vision 2030, the supporting national development plans, as well as by our Harambee Prosperity Plan. These plans plot the course of our developmental trajectory and the course on which we would like to take our country during the next several decades. It is therefore crucial that our foreign policy speaks to these domestic goals and help translate them into a concrete action which will help achieve our developmental objectives. Today, we need to go beyond the dichotomy definition of foreign policy as a policy pursued by a nation in its dealings with other nations designed to achieve national objectives. It must also have a larger dimension of global welfare. We need to be involved in a Southern African development community for the welfare of our region, in the African Union for the welfare of Africa, and in other agencies, including the United Nations and its agencies dealing with international issues. We need to be concerned about conflicts, drought, and refugee problems in Africa and beyond. We need to work relentlessly to address the challenges of global warming, global trade, and terrorism. This decade has posed many foreign policy challenges for a country that anchors its foreign policy in principles it shares with the United Nations. During this decade, we have seen economic boom and bust, increased social and economic inequality, challenges to human rights, terrible poverty, intractable wars in many parts of Africa and the Middle East, refugee problems, threats of terrorism, evolution of social media, and resulting change in the dynamics of democracy. Challenges posed by climate change, isolationist policies of certain states, threats to global trade and other international agreements. These are the challenges that impact upon what is in the interest of our country and the principles we stand for. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 50-odd years, SWAPO and independent Namibia have gone through 3 phases of formulating and following through their foreign policy initiatives. The first phase was during our struggle for independence, when it was important for us to ensure that the United Nations and the international community, including as many sovereign states and non-governmental organizations, as possible, continue to support our right to independence. The second phase involved our ensuring that our position was not compromised during the negotiating process that led to the implementation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 435. Finally, the third phase is the one we are in now, the foreign policy of independent Namibia. All through these phases, my illustrious friend and comrade, Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab, was our spokesperson in various international fora, including the United Nations, where he promoted our position bilaterally as well as multilaterally in various countries, organizations, and international agencies. Comrade Gurirab's name is synonymous with diplomacy, and I'm delighted to be here to honor Theo-Ben Gurirab, SWAPO representative that time at the UN, where I started. Pick up from Theo-Ben Gurirab, the SWAPO. Comrade Theo-Ben Gurirab served as deputy representative under me and petitioner for Namibia in the United Nations and the Americas from 1964 to 1972. And as chief representative of South Africa People's Organization SWAPO from 72 to 1986. In the person of Theo-Ben Gurirab, SWAPO had a leading and consummate diplomat at the United Nations, who helped engineer the metamorphosis of SWAPO from a mere movement of petitioners led by me to a mainstream movement of negotiators and participants in the international arena. The UN General Assembly recognized SWAPO in 1976 as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people. As such, Comrade Gurirab became the permanent observer to the United Nations. The SWAPO now have observer status in the General Assembly. You see, I used to be a petitioner, and I used to be locked out. I would go and get a day pass, then I would appear, then I would say, could the distinguished petitioner now withdraw? How will you be distinguished and be asked to withdraw? So that they can remain and discuss my country in my absence. That's how it is. So when I went there from Lusaka, and I saw him sitting on the floor, ground floor, on the side, with other diplomats sitting here. Whereas I used to end up there, I nearly cried. Well, Palestine together. Don't forget, we come the same way from Belfast Declaration, Palestine, our mandate system, we come a long way together. But two of them were sitting there. I was touched. I said, we made move, we have moved now. We have arrived. During the 14 years that he served, I represented the interests of SWAPO and Namibia at the UN. His efforts contributed enormously to the growing political and diplomatic status of SWAPO to become an organization with high standing and one that was a solution of the question of Namibia. Therefore, it was a true highlight of his career when UN Security Council 435 was adopted in 1978, thus heralding Namibia's independence. Now, Theo-Ben Gurirab as President of the UN General Assembly. Few people can claim to have known and worked with 3 generations of world leaders and 5 Secretaries General of the United Nations. I can name them: Susan Kurt Walham, Javier Stecher, Boutros Ghali, and Kofi Annan, all working with him. Comrade Theo-Ben Gurirab, however, can proudly make that claim. No other one of us can make that claim, but he can proudly make that. It was not only a personal recognition, but an Namibian honor when he assumed the presidency of the 54th session of the United Nations General Assembly from September 1999 until September 2000. His presidency coincided with Namibia's membership to the Security Council, which ran from January 1999 to December 2000. Achievements and highlights were numerous during his tenure as president of the UN General Assembly. But maybe the most memorable is when Comrade Theo-Ben Gurirab presided over the negotiation of the UN Millennium Declaration, which was subsequently adopted by Millennium Summit in 2000, which was co-chaired by our founding president, Comrade Dr. Theo-Ben and Her Excellency Tarja Halonen, President of Finland. This declaration was the basis for setting the Millennium Development Goals, famously known by UNDP people as MDGs, which were recognized as the single most comprehensive, inclusive, and globally embraced poverty-focused development agenda. Namibia's membership in UN Security Council. Namibia was unanimously elected one of the 10 non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council for the period starting from 1st of January 1999 and ending 31st December 2000. The Namibian team in Security Council received constant guidance from Dr. Gurirab, even though his responsibilities were enormous as President of the General Assembly. Although every issue before the Security Council is important due to its impact on the maintenance of international peace and security, Namibia during its tenure on the UN Security Council attached great importance to the situations in Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, the Middle East, Western Sahara, East Timor, the resolution of children in armed conflicts, the resolution of women, peace and security, the protection of civilians in armed conflicts, as well as peacekeeping operations in general. Namibia made its mark in Security Council in 1999, when after almost a decade of the Security Council not discussing the question of Palestine, Namibia broke the impasse. Namibia arranged an open meeting of Security Council on Palestine and invited late President Yasser Arafat to the meeting. Not only that, in October 2000, during Namibia's presidency of the UN Security Council, a public meeting of the UN Security Council on women, peace and security was arranged, culminating in the adoption of the now famous UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Given our history and taking into account the indispensable contribution made by Namibian women during our struggle for national liberation, we were determined to show to the international community that women in conflict situations can not only be victims, but can also contribute to peacemaking, peace building, and peacekeeping. This open meeting was presided over by Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab in his capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Gurirab now is President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. On October 19, 2008, at the 183rd session, the Governing Council of the IPU in Geneva, Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab was elected as President of the International Parliamentary Union for a 3-year mandate. During this tenure, the IPU adopted its strategic roadmap, which would guide the work of the organization. The IPU has also played a leading role in debating the effects of the worldwide economic and financial crisis, and to determine what parliaments, governments, and the international community can do to mitigate the negative effects on people's livelihoods. As President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Dr. Gurirab took keen interest in issues of international peace and security, as well as global warming. At the conclusion of this term, in October 19, 2011, the Governing Council conferred on him the title of the Honorary President of the IPU. Although I have focused my recognition of Comrade Gurirab on his role in the international arena, I must also mention the fact that he has played a similarly sterling role on a domestic front. He has played his part in Namibia's conception and subsequent development as a member of the Constituent Assembly, as well as the Constitution Drafting Committee of only 21 people, as the first and longest serving foreign minister of our republic, as Prime Minister, and later also Speaker of the National Assembly. He became Minister of Foreign Affairs when we had hosted the South African Development Coordinating Conference, Southern African Development Coordinating Conference. He left the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after he established the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the African Union. To you, Comrade Theo-Ben Gurirab, Namibians, we indeed say congratulations. So well done, proud of you. We're still here, and we can say thank you, because it's always easy to make long speeches when people are gone. Now here we are saying thank you, and we are sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Gurirab's sterling stewardship and acumen in foreign policy should equally guide us to become cognizant of the new realities of the 21st century, characterized by a rapidly transforming geopolitical landscape, wherein the developing world is increasingly becoming an important driver of the world's economy and political agenda. As I have alluded to during the beginning of my statement, foreign policy is an extension of domestic policy. Therefore, Namibia should seize the opportunity offered by the transformation or transforming geopolitical landscape to effectively pursue its national interests in building relations and partnerships that allow for trade, value addition, innovation, and increased shared prosperity and development. We should utilize this lecture series to analyze the impact that global issues have on our national development programs and on our peace and security. Given the impact Dr. Gurirab has had at the United Nations, I would like to conclude by making some remarks on the United Nations reform, especially the UN Security Council. Since the genesis of the UN Security Council reform, Namibia has continued to participate actively both in our national capacity and as a member of the Committee of 10 of the AU Assembly of Heads of State on the reform of the UN Security Council. At the moment, I am your proud representative. Namibia has remained steadfast in demanding for 2 permanent seats for African member states. All the superpowers here. And that's a report for them to hear, because last meeting we had in Equatorial Guinea, we said we must now have an outreach to reach out to the superpowers. That wherever we go now, we must tell them we want 2 seats only. We do so in the belief that it is unjustified for 54 countries who represent 1.2 billion of the world population, that is Africa. If you know we are 1.2 billion people, to be denied a place among the permanent seats of the UN Security Council. Can you imagine? We are convinced that democratization of the UN Security Council will render effective the maintenance of international peace and security. It has been said that, and I quote and unquote, if you don't have a plan for inclusivity Your plan is to be exclusive. Unquote. My mantra is that inclusivity spells harmony, while exclusivity spells disharmony. Therefore, I say, now one must feel excluded from the Namibian house. Equally, now country or continent must feel left out from the global village. Just over a month remains until commencement of 72nd General Assembly. Namibia calls on the United Nations to shun exclusivity and embrace inclusivity by working on a plan to make the Security Council more inclusive and reflective of the new geopolitical landscape. But this, in tough words, at the end, it is now my great pleasure to officially launch the Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab Lecture Series.
My road into the United Nations, its committees, corridors, secret rooms, how to cross the street without being seen and come back to meetings and being counted as present. Are tricks I learned from him. It was the first, well, there were people before us, the petitioners, but they were limited to certain floors, certain rooms, and so on. We broke all that down. He did, and I took over from him and carry on that habit. One thing he neglected to say, Dr. Geingob, is that I am a proud brother of 6 sisters. My wife is happy sitting in front of me that I said that. Dr. Geingob said actually a lot of things about me. But SWAPO party leadership has for much more than simply being an internationalist. The spread of ideas he shared with you, the information he shared about me, and wherever I was, I remain a SWAPO secret weapon. And a student, even when I put on international hat, at the end of the day, I had to report to the SWAPO party leadership one way or the other. And there were 3 of us. 2 of us are still in the same rank. Edipo Hamutenga is left, but he remains a member of the SWAPO trio. I'm trying to hold back my emotions. This has nothing to do with being a proud brother or sister. If I want to, I cry. But you can shoot me with a machine gun and I will not cry. I will do that. We needed to, as part of party leadership, instruct our Hage Geingob to leave international affairs and the United Nations aside and return to Africa to head the United Nations Institute for Namibia. We obliged, and we got there and maneuvered for me to join him there too. The opportunity arose because President Geingob, who at the founding of the United Nations Institute for Namibia, became one of the directors of the United Nations Institute for Namibia. And unbeknown to us, he managed to have bribed, I don't know how, that's my expression, Edipo Hamutenga to join him, leaving his studies behind in Canada, and he ended up being the number 2 deputy to the director of the UN Institute for Namibia. And by some mistake, I'm not quite sure about, an opportunity arose, and Comrade Geingob, who was one of the members of the leadership of the UN Institute for Namibia, had to vacate his place. And somehow, I took an own plane or whatever, I ended up also replacing Comrade Geingob. So this troika that we always talk about, Hage Geingob, and Theo-Ben Gurirab, again regrouped. So different assignments, but regrouped in Lusaka, Zambia. And step by step, we ended up back in Namibia. But Hage Geingob was the head of the group. Some of you were here, that led the drafting of the Constitution. We proudly said we wrote our Constitution. Of the colonial office in some European countries did it for us, we did it ourselves as Namibians. We are open to good ideas. An American university graduate, so is our president, Edipo Hamutenga, started in the United States of America, spent some time in Canada, but came back home when he was summoned that we also have a responsibility for the future of our young people. And that is how the UN Institute for Namibia came into being. Speaker, I didn't see you earlier. Dr. Geingob, you might not remember the Troika, but if I tell them the secrets of how you, in my case, kept me floating until you made some other arrangements for me to be able to invite people and be at least pay for their hot soup in one of the restaurants nearby the UN. You did that until things went into now. I can really do, but he has been asked by the party to do, and the mother of my children somehow crashed with me in one of the streets, and the rest is history. And the idea of this evening is to launch Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab lecture series. That's just a bit of not only Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab, Hage Geingob, with so many other people that you have come to know. Those abroad, waging the struggle, and those who have come back, and those who have found here in the country. Collaboration in so many different ways. So the honor of the Prime Minister read out to you the Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab lecture series. Don't think too much about the name, but think about what that stands for. Lecture series. What is it going to be all about? I think you mentioned Usako today. So we'll find a name when we have the first year anniversary of tonight. It's not only the generosity of your heart and the quality and mind that you have, to have told the truth about what I was, but very definitely I wouldn't have done those things alone. I wouldn't have achieved where I was the agent for change in those places where the international community and SWAPO for its part on its own made it possible for me to have done that. I probably wouldn't have been able to do that without you. And it's not probably I wouldn't have been able to do what I have achieved. So I'm grateful to you. I will always be grateful to you. And on behalf of you people, For those of you who were at his burial, before his casket was closed, I was sitting in the same row, the President Geingob and the other leaders. I tried writing a note that accompanied the people. Before the casket was closed, I wrote a note to him. And I put it in his casket. And I wrote with my hands, grab, send, 5 times, and drop it in his casket, and send it with him. So on occasions like this, I think about Hage, I think about him, and I think about myself as Theo. So the compliment that you are paying me and your colleagues, the Prime Minister, and all the others who one way or the other contributed to this day, the purpose of life, and the dreams that we have, not only for the safety and security, prosperity of our people, our citizens, but peace and stability and genuine cooperation in the world. We were freedom fighters, we were liberators, we sent the best of our young people, and a good number of them sacrificed. Those who died in the just struggle are those that we call heroes and heroines. Those who died by allowing themselves to be misled, exploited, and killed by the enemy. We feel sorry for them. God will deal with them. We'll punish them, but for them to know, whatever they might be, dead or alive. You have done, to repeat myself, many wonderful things for me. Including creating an opportunity for me to have met in your apartment the mother of my children. You didn't? I know ways to report to you that they will not come that she's not nice. I don't know what you're going to do as a headache, but you are the one going to choose me to the decision is mine. So death is among one or two things that you have done for me, that you are giving me this honor by this idea of lecture series. Those who will benefit from it, or don't look at my name and who I am. It would be a thank you, a tribute to you. It is your idea to say that I identify myself with it is by way of, so to speak, the far greater importance of it is for those who will benefit, who might not have been able to do this for themselves, but through this they will benefit. And may not even care about how did this happen for me. How will I benefit from it? But what I would advise you, my fellow citizens, is that for me, this has been made possible by Hage Geingob. And that those of you who are able to provide help through creating opportunities for those who might not be able to do this on their own, but that through this and all over the world, they will be able to say that I'm a beneficiary of the lecture series created by Dr. Theo-Ben Gurirab, President of the Republic of Namibia. And by the way, I don't know whether the President said it, that among the things that I'm known for is to deny things. You will ask many things to you, but the challenge is how to manage them, as I'm doing now. And should that be the case, that there is no mention of Dr. Gurirab, but everything Hage Geingob, he abundantly said that. He made it possible that for all of us. And whatever I am, including when I'm back home in Usagos. There was how I will talk about it. He created it, but I was the spokesman. And the people listening to who were speaking. This lady, ending now, sitting to the right hand of the president, was my deputy when I was foreign minister, and she still holds on to her. President felt it useful to have assistance in the education. This is an idea that we should all be generous about. Let the cities sounds means repetitive investment in human growth and development, prosperity, and advancement. That is what we hope the commitment has. And I hope that in our own hearts, as individuals sitting here, we pledge not only to recall that I was there when that happened, but we will think of ways and means of assisting this dream, not only to come through, but to spread. That's why it is with a program. One time, there is a series of activities in which we are being invited to invest for the good of the world, for the good of our countries, and to pray that there will be willing and able hands and minds to make this not a dream, but a commitment that we are willing to be part of. So, ask Mrs. Gurirab how the Gurirab family can be counted into this. I thank President for this initiative. I know that when question is put to us, how can we be of help? There are some smiling figures I see who exploit them like this. Thank you very much.
My name is Patience Masua, a first-year law student at the University of Namibia, and I am passionate about women's empowerment and youth empowerment as well, and what is expected from youth to contribute in achieving the aims of Namibia's foreign policy. Thank you.
I think what was expected of youth of my generation, youth of any generation at any time in human history, it's the same thing expected of our youth. Regardless of where they are, whether they are on a farm, at a railway town like this others,
or coming from a very rich family, a lot of money, can pay for any opportunity. You can deal with any challenge. The success depends upon that youth. Things that the President and I became did not come from our parents. Some of it from our environment,